Welcome back, everyone. Today I want to show you how to sew the saddlebag for your bike seat. Before we get started, let's go over the materials that we're going to use for this project. The first item that we're going to use is this heavy-duty duck canvas. It's essentially just a really heavy cotton fabric. Second item we're going to use are these two buckles. Third item is this Velcro that actually sticks to itself. Fourth item we're going to use is this nylon strapping. Fifth item that we're going to use is this pattern that I created, and you can actually download this from the link in the description. First step is to cut out our pattern, then we'll tape it together at the bottom seam, pin it to our fabric, and cut out our fabric. And if you notice, I have these two lines right here so you know exactly where to line them up. Now that we have our rectangle cut out, and this is the only cut that we're going to make, we're going to iron in a few lines for reference later. So first one, let's just fold it in half and iron it flat. We got a nice crease there. Next irons that we need to make, on the pattern you'll notice there's two lines on each side. We're actually just going to fold that over, iron it, and then sew it, and that's going to give us a nice lip to our bag. We'll just line it up so we can get approximately the right width lip. This doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to match the other side. And then a little trick you can do, roll it over, just line up the other side, and this way both of your lips are exactly the same. First sewing we'll do is just running a straight stitch across the top. This is where the pattern comes into play. What you're going to want to do is just line up the middle of your pattern in the crease that we created from the iron, place it on top, and then we'll pin it in a few different spots. And how this pattern works is it has lines and tells you exactly where you want to sew, so we can sew our Velcro and our nylon strapping onto here. When placing your pattern on top of your fabric, make sure that your sewn edge for the lips is facing down. Let's get this pinned on, and then we'll cut all of our parts so that we can sew it to the bag. At this point we can cut out our nylon strapping and our Velcro. We need 6 inches of Velcro, and then we'll need 3 different pieces of the nylon strapping, one at 7 inches, one at 11 inches, and one at 14.5. And lucky for me, I'm actually already at 14.5. You cut out this nylon, you want to make sure that you burn the ends so that it doesn't unravel. First piece we're going to sew on is the Velcro. I have lines up here as guides so you know where to sew. So just line up your piece, line up your needle, and sew your piece on. Next piece we need to sew is a 7-inch piece of nylon strapping. We're going to take this side of the buckle, slide it on, fold it in half, and then sew it on. Before we sew on our front strap, what we're going to want to do is create a little loop, and for the length we're just going to measure from this top line to the first sewing piece, fold it in half, and then sew down here so this is a loop. When sewing your back strap on, make sure the flap of your loop is facing up, and make sure that you put your buckle on first and that it's facing towards the bottom. To create the strap that will attach the saddlebag to the seat rails, we're going to take our 14.5-inch strap, put our buckles on each end, and then sew the buckles on. The goal is to have 11 inches between each buckle, and that's why we have about 1.25 inches of sewing space on each end. There's our strap. Let's clean up the threads a little bit. The great thing about this pattern is that when you're done sewing all your pieces on, just take your pins off and you can tear off the paper. Now that we have all our straps sewn in, we're just going to tidy everything up and we're going to sew the edges together. And we'll sew along the edge. One of the last steps we need to do to complete this bag before we can flip it inside out is create our box corners. So essentially we're going to make a diagonal sew so that when it folds out, it's a box at the bottom of the bag. To do that, we're just going to clip up until the thread line. We're just going to clip like this so we get a flat seam on both sides. And then for our box corner, we want to measure 1.25 inches in and make a mark on the inside of the fabric, both sides. And then what essentially we're going to do is this seam right here, we're going to fold our corner flat. And what we want to do is line this seam up with this seam right here. Now that we have this lined up, we're just going to sew directly across here on both sides. Seam one. Last step is now just to flip it inside out and we're going to be all done. See how nice those box corners come out. To attach your saddlebag to your seat, first you want to take your nylon strap that we just sewed and put it through the back loop of your bag. Then take your Velcro and attach it to the seat post. And then your nylon strap goes over the rail on each side so that it'll cinch up, and then bring your strap through your front loop. And buckle it together. If you like this video, smash that like button and hit subscribe for future videos. I'll have a link in the description so that you can download the pattern, and I'll also be selling a kit pre-cut with all the materials you're going to need so you can sew one yourself. If you do make one, I'd love to see it. Use hashtag Kraftmade on Instagram so that I can see your work. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you next time.